This is wildlife biologist Eric Orff with What's Wild in New Hampshire. I'm at the New Hampshire Fish and Game Office in Region 2 in New Hampshire, and I am talking to Henry Jones. He's the moose biologist for New Hampshire Fish and Game. And I think, Henry, tell us, you've been at it a couple of years, and the reason I'm talking to Henry today is we want to talk moose management here in New Hampshire. What's going on, the number of permits issued this year and why, and maybe talk about some of the management issues of moose. Henry, tell us about this year's moose season. How many permits have been given? I know you stopped giving them down in some of the units this year, and what's up with that? I know there was some of our hunters that were concerned about that. So tell us a little bit about those decisions and what you think about some of the other management options here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, great. Thank you for asking, Eric. So this year, New Hampshire is issuing 42 moose permits. Yes, that is down from last year, and so, you know, the reason is permit issuance was suspended in the central and the southwest part of the state.
Now, didn't that happen before in one of the regions?
Yeah, in the southwest part of the state
okay.
as well.
After a couple of years, how long was it?
For 2 years.
Okay, and then reinstituted.
Yep. So,
cool.
So moose management in New Hampshire is guided by our 2016 to 2025 game management plan. So we use that as our framework so that we don't get into a lot of back and forth changes between years. Try to streamline management for consistent progress to those population goals, whatever they may be for the different species. So in that plan involves for each moose management region, or for five out of the six moose management regions, it involves a cutoff level.
Okay.
Where if moose abundance falls to that level, moose hunting permit issuance is suspended. And so in fall 2020, our data showing population abundance, it went below or reached those cutoff levels in the central moose management region of the state and the southwest moose region of the state. For that reason, we are suspending moose population.
That's just meeting the plan's goal. That's all that's doing.
Yes. However, you know, in the northern part of the state, we know winter ticks are impacting moose annually, and so there's a bit of a complication here. The moose population did go slightly below the cutoff level in the north region of moose. That's
really?
The greater Milan area.
Wow.
However, we are pushing. You know, it was decided to continue to issue moose permits in that region, because we know winter ticks are being held back. We know moose are being held back by winter ticks in that region. And the deal with winter ticks is what affects their abundance. That is moose density. So the more moose you have, the more winter ticks you're going to have. And weather. Shorter winters mean more winter ticks. And so up there, we know that at some point we're going to have fewer moose and fewer winter ticks and healthier moose.
Okay.
For that reason, we continued to issue permits, because the goals of our 2016 to 2025 moose management plan are to manage moose using the best available science to achieve a population level that's sustainable, as well as have healthy moose.
Okay.
And so we know that fewer moose up north will mean healthier moose. However, that differs from the central and the southwest part of the state. Moose in those parts of the state are affected by multiple factors. They are affected by winter ticks, but they're also affected by mortality due to brainworm and loss of habitat. And so it's this combined influence that makes them more vulnerable. Those populations are already at low density, that we continued with the cutoff level set in the game management plan.
Now I hear that Vermont and Maine have some different management techniques, reducing moose numbers to try to develop a more regionally healthy population. That has not been the goal here in New Hampshire yet. Any thoughts about the Maine and Vermont's current management strategies?
Yep, certainly. So Maine is initiating an adaptive management zone starting this fall in their Wildlife Management District 4, where they are going to be reducing moose population density In half of that management district, it's up north of Moosehead Lake,
Okay.
in an effort to reduce moose density and manage for healthier moose. Vermont is taking a similar approach, and their management units E1 and E2, that's the Northeast Kingdom.
Northeast Kingdom, yeah.
They are increasing permit issuance there. Yes, we are considering that as an option in northern New Hampshire, and still working through that process and how that applies to New Hampshire.
That's just not in the current plan.
It's not what is planned for the 2021 moose hunting season, and it is not in the 2016 and 2025 game management plan. However, that plan calls for managing for healthy moose, and that management approach falls into that, and so we are considering its application.
Okay. All right, well, more to come next year, but hey, we're going to have some happy moose hunters this fall, and there's still moose for people to see. Plenty of moose still. Come up to New Hampshire, enjoy our moose. We're going to try to keep them well and healthy, the best that the Fishing Game Department can. So thank you very much, Henry Jones, our New Hampshire Fishing Game moose biologist. This is wildlife biologist Eric Orr for What's Wild in New Hampshire.